Hi, welcome. We are doing a video today called Tree Tour, Uncover the Uniqueness of a Tree. I do want to apologize. I do have wind chimes in the background today. I've got the windows open for a fresh breeze, and so those chimes have been going pretty solidly. It's nice that we have a breeze. It's been very, very hot these last few weeks, and so there is going to be a little bit of noise. So just warning you in advance. Hopefully it doesn't detract from the video. That breeze is fantastic, and I would prefer to keep those windows open. So just wanting to let you know in advance, there might be some noise in the background. But anyway, tree tour, uniqueness of a tree. We're going to just jump right in. This is the tree. Welcome. It is an older tree, an established tree. It has been around and has been seemingly relatively full grown for 30 years. I have been in the vicinity, so I can attest to that myself. It is actually a very, very cool tree. It's very dynamic and kind of diverse in what it shows and how it blooms in the spring, summer, the leaves come back. This tree is in Minnesota. Minnesota has the four seasons, the four traditional seasons, and so that means that the trees here will have the winter die off. We have a proper established autumn that kills off the tree leaves, and then they hibernate over the winter, and then the leaves come back in the spring. And so it's very, very cool because the leaves will start out kind of maroon red, and then they turn green over time, which is it's beautiful. It is a beautiful tree. They'll turn green over time. You can see the green in the photo. You can see it in the last photo that we had going also. It's got this beautiful bark, great coloring, kind of gray, almost a gray brown, but green leaves. And it also has flowers. It'll flower probably early spring. Obviously this photo was actually taken at the beginning of August, and it's got berries on it. And the berries are pretty much full grown already. Which means it's had the berries for a while, and that's just something you might want to think about if you do see a tree and they do have berries, just where it is in its growth cycle. You can see that the berries are pretty well established here. A lot of them will see bug life. Maybe some birds might come through also. A good snack and a good overwintering snack too. So this tree is pretty popular with neighborhood squirrels and birds, or it has been previously, and the occasional neighborhood stray cat. um, so it is an established tree, very interesting, and it's just gorgeous with the blossoms. So this tree does have the traditional branches. Like I said, it is probably 30 plus years old. It's got also epicormic growths, just here and there. This is one that depicted specifically. I didn't take a count, of course, and that would be a good science project, just to see, kind of what's going on below, or what's going on with the bark itself. The epicormic growths generally will come out. It's not abnormal for epicormic growths. Epicormic growths are when green leaves will come right off the trunk versus on the branches or on the twigs on the branches. And so they come right out of the trunk, and it generally means that there's bug life in the trunk itself, or perhaps um, a bird has gotten in and has pecked its way through the bark. Generally, just exposure to sunshine, water, with that growth potential, trying to heal that up, make use of that hole. And um, so um, it's promoting new life, which is pretty cool with the bug life. And the that's something that we might talk about later, that is pretty healthy for the trees to be used for habitat. And this is another potential example of that happening. Something is making a home. And I have not been watching, so I don't know exactly. There's another hole on this tree that I have actually seen a squirrel go in and out of. And it's exciting if you like wildlife, and if you um if you observe nature, it's exciting to see animals make a home of something that you also love, and so it's cool. But this is a little hole, a little hidey hole, that you can see in the photo. There's a little bit of a crust on one end, probably a um, branch that got cut off, and it's all healed up, and it also looks like maybe it rotted a little bit, and an animal probably dug out that half of the seal on that, to potentially build a storage a storage unit that's a squirrel storage unit, or a shelter. It's not abnormal seeing um, this type of hidey hole on trees, especially if they are maintained, for various reasons. And you can see that whatever damage happened here did happen a while ago, because that bark is winding around that edge, and that's actually on another slide as well, which we'll get to. But we do have life in this tree, which is pretty cool. There is also an accumulation of detritus that may also become habitat for life. You can have bugs that um, make homes there. Obviously, if you have this detritus, it looks like in this photo, it's kind of black, dark brown. That means that it is starting to kind of decompose a little bit. And so that can, if it's decomposing, there might be bug life associated. It could attract more bug life. It's an easy shelter, having that loose uh, detritus there, versus having to go through the hassle of penetrating the bark and getting into the tree proper. Of course, bugs do that all of the time. It's not uncommon to see just a whole slew of ants underneath the bark of a tree. You'll get beetles, just a whole bunch, and so that's not unnormal. Sorry, unusual to have bugs in the trees. Um, but I guess I've not paid attention to um, these little areas of the miscellaneous materials. But that could also be just a nice buffer space that could be a protection space for them, maybe a snack, things like that. So that is just something to notice. It also could have just been, subject to gravity, miscellaneous tree stuffs, leaves, what have you, that just didn't get blown away from the crevice. So, but still kind of an interesting thing to observe on a tree. This is, I had not seen this before. It does look like something has peeled away that outer bark on this portion of the tree. You can see that there are multiple layers. There is an old layer, and that outer bark, and then there is something of an inner layer that is on this um, cut branch space too, and that the different barks would probably serve as sun protection. That inner cambium layer um, gets the nutrients and pulls the nutrients up and through the entirety of the tree. So this actually, um, we're lucky that it does have that inner bark, or that under bark established, that younger bark, um, because it can still protect the tree a little bit. You can't see the cambium here. It would be a different like color. Oftentimes it's yellow, and some trees like cedars, it can have like red kind of throughout as well. But this still is protected, and it's potentially helping with that sun protection and the moisture retention, to make sure that fewer predators can get into that cambium layer. But this one also looks like the branch was taken off a long time ago, with some cambium showing that may be subject to rot and a little bit of animal digging. Closer up picture of it. The curved bark again does indicate that this happened a long time ago, and it appears to have healed pretty well. So um, sometimes when you cut off a branch, um, you will get like moisture kind of seeping up, and that is essentially the, you might romantically say it's like the tears of the tree, the injury. It could be life energy kind of seeping out, where it was supposed to be continually uh, going through that cambium layer and nourishing that branch. And so severing that branch obviously was unexpected, and the growth cycle would still, continue on. And so you might get some of that. But this obviously has um, a history. It is healing over, and now it does look like it might be rotting a little bit on the inside, um, which could be a food source. It could also be picked out and again make another little hidey hole for a bird or a squirrel. There are a few of these marks on the tree. This actually could be like rot or potential burrow growth. I did want to be sure because I am giving this presentation, so I did an image search online, and it does, it said exactly this. It could be rot, or it could be the growth of a burl. A burl, if you've seen trees out and about, a burl kind of is one of those misshapen bulbous bumps on the trunk proper. um, and this is on the trunk. But I read somewhere that it's actually an issue with the circulation of the tree and the tree growth, and that the trunk is kind of swallowing a branch. It's the branch is not developing properly, and so it still has that growth potential, but then it kind of just turns into this strange, um, tree bulbous mass on the trunk. This here, it does obviously have that blackened color. Blackened materials can be associated with decay and deterioration, so it could honestly just be rot. This is new. It was not on the trunk before, in previous years, but the tree is getting older too. It has this rot, and it could be an infection. It could be longitudinal. It does appear to be causing damage to at least that inner bark, inner outer bark. So we'll just see it, and it does look like there is a hole as well on the left side here, there underneath the new growth area, and so that could also be subject to an animal poking and digging and trying to maybe get some bugs that are in there, or just, you know, maybe digging out again a storage place. One of the branches on this tree does have some black on the busted limb. This branch does appear to have broken off, and so it does have that black sheen. It looks like the bark is gone in most places here. It's been exposed. It's that blackened, and I don't know what happened here, and I don't know that I've seen this um, on other limbs that have also busted off. So this to me is kind of a newer phenomenon. Um, so I would have to observe again just to see if it could be infected or something could have happened and I just wasn't around. And I didn't get I didn't get the information as to what exactly this is. It is blackened. I did believe that it retained moisture, and so I did feel it just to check consistency, to check if there was moisture, and it felt greasy, which I was also surprised by because it looks moist. It looks like it's deteriorating on the tree, on the healthy tree. But yeah, I don't know what happened. It just feels greasy and blackened. It is blackened rather. It doesn't feel blackened, but kind of a unique situation on this. That being said, some limb die-off is normal. You can see in this photo, this is the same tree. Um, like, like there are a number of the brown leaves here with a lot of little branches kind of presumably on a larger shared branch. Something could have happened that disrupted the cambium layer, that it's no longer taking in the nutrients or enough nutrients to keep the leaves alive. Could have been a disease. There are any number of tree diseases that have a little bit of die-off. Die-off on some of these limbs can also be associated with the competition of other branches on the same tree. The branches could get a lack of sunshine, which could actually just, kill off a portion of itself, essentially, the tree. That could happen. So that is not abnormal. You'll also see a difference in the tree leaf shape sizes, where the leaves at the top of the tree get a lot more sunshine, and so they'll be a lot bigger. They will perhaps just be a different shape than some of the leaves at the bottom, maybe very much smaller, and more of the traditional shape that we might see just because we're closer to the ground a lot of times, and so we might not see a lot of those leaves from above. And so that's really, really cool and really interesting. But that is just something that you might see in a tree. And there is some die off. Of course, if it is by like a trail or by a house, you might want to think about taking down some of those branches. This appears to be a lot of little twiggy branches, so it probably wouldn't pose quite the hazard if it were to fall, if we had a rainstorm. But larger branches could actually be a concern, so that then you might want to think about trimming that just for safety. This is another area, just another place where you might get detritus between a branch and the trunk, and it does seem black in the V there, with a little bit of white too also trailing down, that just color differentiation from the traditional bark. um, at first I thought it, maybe a squirrel had a campfire. um, just because it was black with the white kind of going down the side. So very unique. Um, but I wasn't 100% sure what it was in reality. It could have been some sort of mold growth if this area is prone to collecting water, retaining water. It might have more microbiological life and activity. And so this could be that. Again, I can't testify to it. It doesn't appear to be collecting leaves, but I don't know why this area in particular has some discoloration. It's something to check out, see what's up. It wasn't the only V that had some black and some white. So um, just something to think about, watch, and see if there are patterns, see if there is some proper science there. Are there any questions?